On December 18, 1944, three U.S. Navy destroyers, the USS Hull, USS Spencer, and USS Monaghan, sank within hours in the raging seas. Nearly 800 sailors perished that day, not by enemy fire, but buried alive in the fury of a typhoon that struck Admiral William Halsey's Third Fleet northeast of Samar Island in the Philippines. The aircraft carriers USS Cabot and USS Monterey watched helplessly as their planes broke free from their cables and exploded in flames on the hangar decks. Yet the story's true marvel lies in this. While smaller vessels capsized and sank, the aircraft carriers survived. These floating cities, each carrying over 5,000 crew members and weighing more than 100,000 tons, withstood winds exceeding 150 miles per hour and waves taller than buildings. How was this possible? What allowed these engineering marvels to stand firm against nature's most violent storms when other warships could not? The answer lies in decades of excellence in U.S. naval engineering, profound lessons learned through the sacrifices of brave sailors, and a crew trained to face the impossible. From the U.S. Navy's newest supercarrier, the Gerald R. Ford, its hull rising 250 feet above the waterline, to time-tested protocols that transform chaos into controllable operations, we reveal the extraordinary methods that keep our naval power operational when Mother Nature unleashes her worst. At first glance, the Gerald R. Ford appears to defy all laws of naval architecture. Over 1,000 feet long and rising 250 feet above the waterline, this floating fortress weighs more than 100,000 tons. With its blade-like hull slicing through the sea and a massive island superstructure on the starboard side of the flight deck, it should capsize at the first sign of rough weather. Yet, the U.S. Navy engineers had created something extraordinary. The secret lay in a principle refined over decades: the relationship between a ship's center of gravity and its center of buoyancy. Contrary to what you might expect, an aircraft carrier's center of buoyancy sits higher than its center of gravity. This means that as the ship begins to list, the steeper the angle, the stronger the self-righting force becomes. The starboard superstructure was not a design flaw, but pure genius. As early as 1917, engineers discovered that placing this tower on one side and slightly widening the flight deck on the other created perfect balance while preserving the entire deck for aviation operations. The seemingly hollow tower's weight is counterbalanced by strategically distributed additional mass throughout the ship. But what's truly impressive here is how it forever changes your perception of stability. Below the waterline, these carriers reveal their true engineering brilliance. While the hull appears narrow at the waterline to reduce drag, underwater it expands into a broad, flat bottom, providing incredible stability. This design principle, combined with advanced gyro stabilizers, creates such a steady platform that pilots can land 30-ton fighters traveling at 150 miles per hour, even in moderate seas. The protocols safeguarding our carriers today were written in blood and sacrifice by American sailors facing unimaginable adversity. December 18, 1944, a date forever etched in naval history, transformed how the U.S. Navy conducts operations in severe weather. Admiral William Halsey's Third Fleet had just successfully attacked Japanese airfields, suppressing enemy aircraft during the U.S. Operation on Mindoro Island in the Philippines. When meteorologists detected what appeared to be a minor weather disturbance, 7 fleet carriers, 6 light carriers, 8 battleships, 15 cruisers, and approximately 50 destroyers were operating 300 miles east of Luzon Island. The typhoon arrived with almost no warning. By morning, ships were battling hurricane-force winds and mountain-high waves. Salt water lashed horizontally at bridge level. Sailors reporting the sea and sky seemed indistinguishable. The howling in radar equipment was described as terrifying. The crew of the USS Monterey fought desperately as aircraft on the hangar deck broke free from their restraints and exploded into flames. Future President Gerald Ford, then a young naval officer aboard Monterey, later described how the ship lost steering ability as the crew battled fires while being tossed by massive waves. The USS Cabot faced similar terror as aircraft broke free on the flight deck, flames reaching the bridge. The ship seemed doomed until the very storm that damaged it actually saved it. The wind and waves extinguished the fires and swept the burning aircraft into the sea. But the destroyers were not so fortunate. The USS Hull, USS Spencer, and USS Monaghan, once proud American warships, capsized and sank, claiming nearly all hands. Designed for speed and agility, these vessels lacked the immense stability that kept aircraft carriers afloat. Hear what happened next, for this tragedy gave birth to innovations that still protect our sailors today. The loss of 790 American sailors during Typhoon Cobra triggered the most comprehensive reform of naval meteorological operations in history. The Pacific Fleet immediately established new weather stations in the Caroline Islands. As U.S. forces gained control of more territory, additional stations were added in Manila, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. Meteorological center offices were established in Guam and Leyte to coordinate data from across the Pacific. But the true revolution lay in the development of what became known as material condition protocols, a system so effective it remains the foundation of storm operations to this day. At the core of storm preparedness are three material conditions: X-ray, Yoke, and Zebra. Think of them as tiers of protection, with X-ray being the least restrictive and Zebra providing maximum security. When severe weather threatens, an aircraft carrier immediately implements Zebra condition, essentially transforming the ship into a sealed, watertight fortress. Every door, hatch, and opening throughout the vessel is marked with a specific letter designation. X and Y category fittings can remain open during normal operations, but once Zebra condition is activated, all facilities automatically close. The ship is completely compartmentalized into independent sections, so even if one area floods, it won't spread to others. But the true special feature of U.S. carriers is this: they can maintain limited operations while in this protective posture. Modified Zebra condition allows for at-sea replenishment, aviation operations, and other critical missions while retaining most of the ship's protective capabilities. Crew training is equally impressive. Every sailor aboard an aircraft carrier knows exactly where to go and what to do when the alarm sounds. They rehearse these procedures regularly because when the real storm hits, there's no time for hesitation. Speaking of crew training, the tasks these sailors accomplish in severe weather will absolutely amaze you. When severe weather approaches a U.S. aircraft carrier, what unfolds showcases the finest training and discipline in the world. The transformation is remarkable. Within minutes, a bustling ship becomes a sealed fortress, ready to face nature's harshest tests. The top priority is securing the aircraft. On the flight deck, crews secure each plane with steel cables using military precision. Tire pressure is lowered to reduce wind resistance, and any aircraft that can be moved is shifted into the protected hangar deck. Massive hangar bay doors, among the largest moving structures at sea, seal shut. Flight deck elevators, normally used to move aircraft between decks, lock into fixed positions. The angled flight deck, designed for simultaneous launch and recovery operations, transforms into a carefully secured parking area, with every piece of equipment secured by multiple redundant systems. Below deck, engineers ensured all vital systems remained operational. The ship's 4 massive propellers and nuclear reactors continuously provided power and thrust, enabling the carrier to maintain speed and maneuver away from the worst parts of the storm. The navigation team worked around the clock, utilizing advanced weather routing systems unavailable during World War II. Modern carriers can predict storm paths days in advance and plot courses that minimize exposure to severe conditions. But when evasion isn't possible, they rely on systems and training proven under the most extreme conditions imaginable. The air traffic control team, usually managing complex flight operations, instead monitors weather conditions and maintains communication with other ships in the fleet. Their radar systems are protected by specially designed domes, allowing them to continue functioning even in hurricane-force winds. What is truly remarkable is how these crews maintain effectiveness even when visibility is restricted to within the ship's hull. During severe weather, visibility drops to near zero. Yet operations persist thanks to instruments and procedures developed through decades of American naval innovation. The true test, however, comes when operations must continue as the storm rages on. This is precisely where the superiority of the U.S. Navy truly shines. At times, mission requirements override weather concerns, revealing the true capabilities of U.S. carriers and their crews. During Operation 2924 in the Red Sea, the USS Harry S. Truman supported Operation Prosperity Guardian while navigating challenging weather conditions. The ability to launch and recover aircraft under marginal conditions distinguishes U.S. carriers from any other naval force worldwide. While severe weather may suspend routine flight operations, carriers can execute emergency launches when national security demands it. The key lies in meticulous timing and exceptional pilot skill. Catapult launches in adverse conditions require precise coordination between ship motion and catapult timing. As the carrier rises with the waves, relative wind speeds over the flight deck increase, providing additional lift for departing aircraft. Experienced crews can time catapult launches to leverage these natural wind variations. Recovery operations present even greater challenges. Pilots approaching a landing zone that may rise and fall with the waves must compensate for the ship's motion. The optical landing system guiding pilots to a safe touchdown is calibrated to account for the vessel's movement in rough seas. This capability stems from the incredible stability inherent in U.S. carrier design. Even in rough conditions, the flight deck remains remarkably steady compared to smaller ships. Its massive size and low center of gravity mean the ship moves slowly and predictably with the waves. Emergency procedures allow modified flight operations even under conditions that would ground land-based aircraft. Search and rescue helicopters can launch in weather that grounds fixed-wing aircraft, and onboard medical facilities can receive casualties when normal operations are suspended. The crew's ability to adapt procedures in real time demonstrates the flexibility that makes American naval aviation the most capable in the world. But perhaps most impressive is how they prepare for storms never before encountered. Today's U.S. aircraft carriers represent the pinnacle of storm weathering technology. Commissioned in 2017, the USS Gerald R. Ford integrates advanced systems that seemed impossible during the era of Typhoon Cobra. Modern gyro-stabilized systems actively counteract wave motion, reducing a ship's roll and pitch in heavy seas. Combined with computer-controlled ballast tanks, these systems enable the ship to maintain stability even in conditions that would have challenged earlier designs. Advanced weather prediction grants today's crew's capabilities Admiral Halley could only dream of. Satellite imagery, computer modeling, and real-time data from global weather stations provide detailed forecasts days in advance. Ships can now plot courses that completely avoid severe weather, or, when avoidance is impossible, position themselves to minimize exposure. The Ford-class carriers feature a redesigned flight deck with improved drainage systems that rapidly clear water accumulation during storm conditions. New electromagnetic catapults operate more reliably than steam systems in challenging weather. Advanced arresting gear safely recovers aircraft even when the deck is moving. But technology is only as good as the people who operate it. Today's carrier crews train using advanced simulators that replicate any weather condition, from gentle swells to hurricane-force storms. They practice emergency procedures until they become second nature, ensuring responses are automatic and effective when real conditions arise. The newest carriers also feature improved crew protection. Better ventilation systems, enhanced compartment design, and upgraded safety equipment mean sailors can perform their duties more effectively even in the worst conditions. Looking ahead, the U.S. Navy continues investing in weather-resistant technologies. Future carriers will feature even more advanced stabilization systems, improved weather routing capabilities, and enhanced protection for both crew and aircraft. This ongoing commitment to improvement ensures U.S. naval power will continue setting the standard for all-weather global operations. No other nation's Navy can match the combination of engineering excellence, crew training, and operational experience that keeps our carriers effective in any conditions. The story of how carrier crews weather storms and rough seas is ultimately a story of U.S. naval excellence. From the hard lessons learned during Typhoon Cobra to the advanced capabilities of today's Ford-class carriers, every improvement represents our commitment to protecting the sailors who defend our freedoms. These floating cities, carrying thousands of crew members and billions of dollars worth of aircraft, routinely operate in conditions that would challenge any other vessel. They do so not by luck or chance, but through superior engineering, rigorous training, and the dedication of American sailors embodying the finest naval traditions in history. Decades of experience-honed protocols, technology constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and the courage of crews facing whatever nature delivers, all this ensures U.S. aircraft carriers remain operational when others cannot. When storms rage across the world's oceans and other ships seek shelter, U.S. carriers continue their missions. They launch aircraft in conditions others won't attempt, recover pilots when visibility drops to zero, and maintain America's presence wherever our interests require protection. This capability did not develop overnight. It represents the accumulated wisdom of generations of American naval officers and sailors, each building on the lessons learned by those who came before. The result is a force unmatched anywhere in the world. The next time you see news of an American carrier operating in distant waters, remember the incredible engineering and human dedication that make its presence possible. These ships and their crews represent the very best of American naval power, ready to face any storm, natural or otherwise, to defend our nation and our values.